Hello, welcome back to Diagonal Move. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a game called The Shores of Tripoli, which is designed by Kevin Bertram and published by Fort Circle Games. The strapline on the bottom says US Navy and Marine Corps versus the Pirates of Tripoli. Those of you who read the website and maybe even BGG might remember that I've been in the process of having an interview with Kevin for the last few months. I haven't quite managed to get that done. He's been busy, I've been busy, but it is coming. In the meantime though, Kevin has sent me this review copy of the game to take a look at for you today, and I'll be looking at the components today, and in a later video I'll do a playthrough. Not sure if I'll do the multiplayer version or the solo game yet. I haven't actually played it at all, but today we're just going to take a look at the components and a bit about the game and see how things go. So the Shores of Tripoli is about the period not long after the end of the American Revolution. So the American War of Independence, America has broken away from the colonial powers and has to continue its trade and its governance and so on. And despite now not being ruled by Europe, it still has to trade in and around the Mediterranean and up and down the coastline in the Med, and it comes into conflict with what's called the Barbary Coast, and this is the Morocco, Algeria, Tripolitania, modern day Libya, I believe, and so the ruling powers in this region cause lots of problems for the American shipping and the American forces, leading to Thomas Jefferson sending a force of US Navy frigates and so on to the Med to try and prevent that danger to the shipping. It's a piece of history that I know nothing about, and when you read through the designer notes and so on that's with the game, it's actually absolutely fascinating, because if you think about it, the newly or recently independent USA still has to trade, still has to get going, but who's it going to trade with? It still has to go back to Europe, and it's one of those things we don't think about until someone mentions it, that this newly independent country will still have to trade with nations in and around its former governing countries. So anyway, let's have a quick look at the box and what's inside. It is a 1 to 2 player game, dedicated solo mode. It's 45 minutes to an hour, and the ages are 14 plus. I believe what I have here is a retail copy, although the game was on Kickstarter. And what's inside is actually a whole bunch of things. And one thing throughout the whole game, or the whole video, the production quality is fantastic. I'm not sure how much of an influence Kickstarter would have had on that, but the production quality is really, really good. So anyway, inside the box you do get a bunch of dice in faction-specific colours. There are some cubes in red, white and blue, representing land forces, I believe. We have ships. These are the bigger ships, the Corsair frigates, again in those faction specific colours. Very nice chunky wooden pieces, really quite solid, the sort of quality you might normally find in a Euro game or a Kickstarted Euro game. Really nice stuff. There are some smaller ships again in 3 different colours, and these represent the I believe they're called the Corsairs. Not really up on my naval terms, but yeah, nice wooden pieces again. In addition to the wooden pieces, we also have these discs that represent gold, and again, nice solid wooden bits. There's also 2 decks of cards, and the cards are faction specific, so the Americans and the Barbary Coast, and the cards have a nice almost linen finish on them. There are different types of cards as represented by these icons down the bottom. Some are what's known as core cards. Some are victory cards. If you achieve what's on them, you get a victory. Some are don't have icons at all, and then there are others that you play for events, and some that play as battle cards and so on. And there is a unique deck for the American forces, and then a deck for the local Mediterranean forces in Northern Africa, and the same principle again, except with the Barbary Coast forces, you do have these extra cards that are purely for the solo game, so they help with running the solo bot or the solo AI in the game. The artwork is really good. I confess I'm not 100% sure if this is art that's taken from period artworks, period paintings, or whether this is original, but the art is really nice. Some of it is repeated across cards, but it's lovely artwork throughout. We have a very nice kind of reproduction of a letter sent by, I believe it's Thomas Jefferson, to the consul in Tripoli around the activities that have been going on there between the two nations. It's there for flavour, but it's a very, very nice touch. We have the historical supplement, and this is where I was talking to you about the history of not only the conflict but the reasons behind it and so on. It's called the First Barbary War. Again, it's a lovely addition to the game, and there is some designer notes here about how the design developed, as well as a bibliography for further reading should you wish to read more about this fairly little known or little highlighted period in history. We have the rules. Again, very nicely done. Probably could do with a few more pictures, if I'm honest. This couple of pages here are obviously there's very clear icons and very clear illustrations. However, the rest of the rule book is very text heavy, although it's fairly easy to read. It could probably just do a few more pictures, a few more examples for my personal taste. But nevertheless, it does look like a well laid out rule book. I haven't read it fully, but it does seem to be quite straightforward in how it explains how the game plays and so on. And there's a few strategy tips and tournament tips, as well as a dedicated section for those solo rules and what's called the T-bot, which is those cards and the setup for the cards, and then some solitaire play requirements as well on the back. There's no player aid as far as I can see, or at least there wasn't with my copy, which is slightly surprising, but I don't know if this is massively complex a game compared to certain other ones that I've featured on the channel recently. But anyway, finally we get to the board. And the board is really nice. It's a very long thin board, which is quite different to perhaps many boards that you might see. And it's kind of an area type map with supply boxes and what have you. The year track is along the bottom here, together with a seasons track. You have areas here where the boats patrol, and the different colours represent the allegiances of the ports and so on. So that's everything that is inside the box. It certainly looks like a very, very well produced game, and I'm keen to actually sit down and have a go with it. And hopefully you've seen enough here to help you decide whether you'd like to investigate the game further. I will feature a playthrough on the channel at some point over the coming weeks. So until then, happy gaming, and I'll see you next time.